episode 3 of our podcast with Lee Capri in collaboration with Yellow Owl. Today we have our guest, Yuvini Crafts. She's passionate about what she does. Hello, welcome.
Hello, Daleen. Thank you for inviting me to the interview.
It's a pleasure. I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us more about yourself. Who is Yuvini?
I was born and raised in Durban. I attended Fountain School and matriculated there. I studied through correspondence at UNISA for 4 years. There were many barriers and I battled a lot. I decided to drop the course and move to Cape Town at UCT. I studied a BA Linguistics, and previously I had 2 options, which were a BA degree or fine arts. I was torn between the 2. I took a different direction and chose the corporate world. I continued my studies and moved to Joburg because that's where I found a job. During that time, I was at Wits University studying my honors in SASL.
Wow.
Yeah, growing up, I've always had a passion for arts. Reason being, my mother always bought me arts and craft things and she'd give them to me. I'd get very excited making things. I used to make arts and crafts for each family member, for my cousins, uncles, and aunts. They were always excited and it made me feel good. I grew up loving art. When I was in the corporate world, I realized that my passion for art stayed with me. And I decided to broaden my horizon and not just focus on the corporate world. I thought to myself, why not start my own business? And that's how Yuvini Crafts was born. My business is aimed at making hearing people aware that deaf people have a culture and a language. It's beyond elementary hand movements. No, it's our deafhood. So that's how I started my business.
So when you started Yuvini Crafts, you used the I love you handshake, right? And what is the significance of it?
The initial plan was to use the symbol because it's internationally recognized and it means I love you.
That's sweet.
I wanted to expose hearing people to the symbol, but later we created the A to Z handshapes. We're currently in the process of making that happen. We're designing the handshapes. For now, it's just the basic I love you handshake. It's very popular. With time, we'll get more A to Z handshapes and signs. We're playing around with some ideas. I'll show you.
Oh, wow. So do you have enough resources for your business, or you think there's not enough resources?
That's a very good question. It's not easy. Growing up, I had some supplies, but it ran out and I always had to buy more stock. While studying at university, I kept a box with my art supplies. When I completed my studies, I wondered where my resources were. I kept a box with all my supplies, but when the stock had dwindled, I had to buy more. However, here in Joburg, it's not easy because I grew up in Durban where I know the corners. I know it's by the resources. In Joburg here, I have to go from shop to shop looking for stock. Each store has a different cost, even if the stock is the same. I have to go from shop to shop looking for the best deal. I have to order the stock, then create the product.
I want you to ask about how you grew up. Are you the only deaf person in your family?
I have an older brother. My mother and father, all 3 are hearing. I'm the last born. I'm the only deaf person in the family. I do have a deaf uncle, my mother's cousin. And my uncle is deaf. My great-grandmother was also deaf. She has since passed away. Deafness is generationally passed down. My uncle became deaf, now I'm also deaf. It's continuing to the next generation. My cousin is hard of hearing and it's genetically passed down generationally. There's no diagnosis for our deafness. I think it's just passed down generationally.
Your family knows sign language, yes?
Absolutely, my mother can sign very well. When I was born, she thought that I was hearing until 15 months old when she noticed that I was deaf. The audiologist diagnosed me as deaf, my mother decided to learn SASL. She even resigned from work so that she can focus on me and take care of me. She attended regular classes for SASL and Deaf in school. She kept practicing and she made progress. We attended classes together. And at home, she taught my brother and father sign language. My father's signing is average. My brother is trying. We keep teaching him. We communicate as a family using sign language. At the appropriate age, I attended school. SASL became my innate language. I use English for written communication.
You're fortunate because there are many deaf people who are born into hearing families with no interest of learning sign language. That's a huge communication barrier. However, with your family, communication is easier and effective. Because with your family, you learn sign language, correct?
Well, yes. I mean, there are gaps in the family. For example, most of my cousins can sign, but my aunts and uncles don't know. They mouth and point and gesture a lot. A few of them know basic finger spelling, but my cousins sign well because we are a similar age. I'm very fortunate because they can sign. Imagine those parents and those deaf kids whose parents can't sign. The reason why I started my business, it's aimed at enhancing communication between deaf children and hearing parents. They can use art to create excitement and show their parents how to sign, and that'll strengthen their commitment and relationship through art. That's my aim.
Your life story is quite interesting. You identify as a deaf person and you're educated with a BA qualification, plus you have an arts and craft business. It's very interesting. What motivated you to start your own business, particularly in the arts and craft? Where did your motivation come from?
Yeah, that's a really long story, but I'll try to keep it short. So growing up, I loved art. I never thought my career would be in the arts industry whatsoever. I thought I'd become a teacher or a university lecturer or share my story with an audience. Unfortunately, last year, while I was studying my postgraduate degree in deaf education, a new program introduced by Viz. It was linked to the deaf education in South Africa, and it focused on psychological issues, theories, and code of ethics for deaf and hard of hearing children. I continued my studies and experienced a mental breakdown. I think it was last year around May, I had a complete mental breakdown. My mental health took a knock. I did try to go back to work. I continued with my studies. My life was like, I completely felt overwhelmed. I was in a dark place. I tried to continue with my studies. Unfortunately, I completed my studies. I realized I needed to find my true passion. And I found my passion in art. I decided to start my own business. And I always made small gifts for people. Whether it was for their birthday or for their anniversary or congratulating them. My gifts are always handmade. I'd always make small arts and crafts gifts and present it to people. They were always excited and overwhelmed with gratitude. They always asked me, "Did you make this?" And my response was, "Yes, you should start your own business." That was always an issue. Why don't you start your own business? That thought never left me. It stayed with me. That's how I decided to start my own business.
I observe many deaf people in the community who are artistically gifted, right? And whether in mechanics or they do handwork, but hearing people perceive as people who are incompetent, and they show pity on us, because we have no matric or university access. However, you have access to university and a BA qualification in arts, which is similar to your whole journey. It's possible for deaf people without a matric or university access to become a skilled mechanic doing gardening or craft. The options are plenty. I want to show hearing people that deaf people are very capable to overcome their pity towards us. See, it's possible. It's possible. Yuvini is the perfect example. So can you please show us your product?
Yes, I will show you. Your jaw will drop.
I'm excited to see. Maybe I'm gonna steal one product, yeah? I'm really excited.
Okay, so here we have a bag.
Oh, AIA.
I was looking for something eco-friendly with material that's eco-friendly. Not the usual waste material that couldn't be reused. I wanted something recyclable. I found this material that is recyclable. You can use this bag when you go buy groceries. You don't need plastic bags anymore. So these are our bags. This is for your car.
So you hang it in the car?
Correct. You hang it in your car. It has a fragrance. Right over here.
How do you make it?
I buy these at a necklace shop. And you can also add essential oils depending on your favorite scent. And you pour the oil over here and hang it in your car. You can watch it while you hang and while you drive.
Ooh, take a look. Very interesting.
Here is our bracelet.
Cool, that's very cool.
Look at the beadwork here. You can also pour fragrance on these and hang it in your car. You can smell the scent.
Wow.
It also has a scent.
This is clever. Very clever.
The scent on the bracelet lasts for a week or 3 weeks depending on how much you pour. The fragrance is quite strong. You know, like the air fresheners we have in the car?
Yes, those ones that sort of like the air conditioner. And
they use the eco-friendly one. These are quite nice. So let's say you want a different flavor and you can change the fragrance according to your preference.
It's smart. It's smart. Very smart. I pour my favorite fragrance here, so it's really beautiful.
We also have this bracelet.
Beautiful.
The beadwork is similar to the previous bracelets. Look at the beadwork and the patterns here. This could be a bracelet around your wrist, or you could hook it on your bag. It uses a breathing process called 4-7-8. It helps you with breathing. You count 4 beats, then you count 7 beats. Do the same with 8 beats. Let's start with the 4 beats. This is how the breathing process works. Count 4 beats and then hold your breath. And you continue counting. Count 7 beats and hold, followed by 8 beats and hold. Then you can release your breath. The beats are centered. They help with anxiety or stress.
Panic attack.
If you're feeling overwhelmed or disoriented. It helps with mindfulness and having peace. Continue to count the beats and breathe.
This is very good for mental health. Take a look. It's very good. It is good. It's very good for your mental health, especially for people suffering from anxiety or depression.
Exactly. You can take it with you if you're traveling, carry it in your bag, if you find yourself surrounded. And you take out the beads and you count. Remember the breathing process. Tell yourself everything's going to be okay, then continue along your way. Even when you're driving and you panic, hang the bracelet in your car and start counting the beads. Or if you go to work and something happens with your manager and starts yelling at you, take the beads and start counting.
You can feel it.
What's important is the ability to touch and see it, the texture. It's very tactile.
It's true. It's true. This can cater for people with different preferences and choices.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. Very nice. It's really beautiful.
We celebrated Mother's Day. We had some ideas for making t-shirts.
Beautiful. So sweet. Lovely. How do you make this?
Yeah.
And notice it's not like ironing. The texture.
It's screen printing. So I don't have the resources to do it. I place an order with the supplier, I buy the t-shirts and hand them over to the manufacturer. I tell them what I want and they print it for me on the t-shirts. This is my design, not theirs. I show the manufacturer my design.
So you tell them what you want?
Yes, and they return the complete product. Here's another design for our t-shirts. It describes mothers.
It's clever.
Something different. I observe that mothers feel like, you know how mothers feel. Mothers have many responsibilities like children and work, and they still have a life. So I wanted to fingerspell phrases so they can learn sign language and still feel appreciated as mothers.
Hence the different phrases.
Yes, we're playing around with some ideas for the recent Mother's Day. Now Father's Day is coming up. I want to show you one thing. I want to show you what you've got for Father's Day.
It's sweet.
You've got socks.
So she can start her own brand. Wow.
It says, if you can read this, wrap my feet.
That is so sweet.
We have the I love you handshake, different ideas and patterns. I create the design and show the manufacturer what I want because they have the resources. With the profits I make, I'll invest and buy my own resources. Currently, this is all I have. I'm not thinking of doing everything myself. Over time, with enough funds, I'll employ a few deaf people who have the hand skills such as beadwork or sewing or screen printing. They can come to us. I'll give them opportunities. We want to show hearing people that deaf people are capable.
So will you employ deaf people with hand skills and give them opportunities, or without an education, will you teach them?
Everyone. I'm open to everyone. I observe that in SA, many deaf people don't have a good foundation for education, and it creates an employment barrier. When will they get opportunities?
That's true. That's very true.
There are very few people with a good education and employment who still overcome these barriers. What about those without an education or jobs? My thinking is that I want to do something. I'm passionate about helping deaf people. It's my love. I want to incorporate arts to create unity. That's it.
I think that's a good idea for people who are artistically gifted, using arts and crafts to start their own businesses. They don't have to rely on getting employment because the problem in South Africa is that we have few resources, very few resources that deaf people can't access the market or apply for jobs, get funding or sponsorships. That's very difficult.
Yes, I agree. We should get funding and sponsorship to sustain our lives. I use my own money. Everything comes out of my own pocket. I buy stock and pay suppliers. Funds fluctuate. When I make profit from sales, I reinvest it back into the company. Margins increase and decrease. It's a cycle. That's part of business.
So what is your advice for the deaf community? What's your message to them?
Yeah, whatever happens to your situation that feels like a barrier, challenge yourself. Yes, challenge yourself. How you see yourself after will yield the results in your life.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what Yuvini had to say? You can learn from her because she'll give you motivation. I also learned something from her and I'll do the same. I'm really excited about it. And thank you so much, Yuvini, for coming to our podcast. And I'm certain to our audience watching that you've learned a lot. So maybe for you watching, you want to do the same as Yuvini. And remember that education is important. Maybe you can use your hand skills as a mechanic, gardening, and more. Yuvini is a perfect example. And now we're going to take a bit of a detour. See you soon.